Well, welcome everyone. I want to thank you for being here to meet our new head women's soccer coach. Your presence means a great deal, not only to our soccer program and our Department of Athletics, but this extraordinary university that we're all a part of. It demonstrates your support and excitement about the future of our athletic department. I want to say a special thanks to our administrative team and the coaches and our staff who are here today, and you've been a great support in recruiting a coach, and you're building our culture here into a championship culture. So I thank all the staff that are here. In terms of recruiting terms, I think we've landed a 5-star recruit. He is going to be an invaluable member to our Panther family. As an athletic director, one of the most exciting and really rewarding things that we get to do is bring in a new head coach. This person directly impacts the lives of other people's children, and it's a really critical decision that we make. We hoped to be able to meet the high expectations that we needed in the leader of our women's soccer program. We were determined not to settle for anything less than that, and we found that leader in Randy Waldrum. When I first met Randy, here's really what stuck out in my head. He's a pro, he's passionate, and he wants to be at Pitt. His success is self-evident. 25 years of head coaching experience. During his career, he accumulated 399 wins. We can do 400 here. Only 108 losses. That's a 771 winning percentage, which is extraordinary. While the head coach at Notre Dame, he coached 8 Final Fours, won 8 Big East tournament championships, and 2 national championships. He's a 2-time National Coach of the Year. He joins us most recently coming from the National Women's Soccer League, the Houston Dash, the expansion team where he served and coached 7 national team players from various countries, including Team USA members Carly Lloyd, Morgan Bryan, and obviously a Pittsburgh native, Megan Klingenberg. I'll just say, regardless of the accolades that Coach Waldrum brings, I think what impressed me most is his passion as a teacher of the game and his humble demeanor. He's committed to lifelong success of his student athletes. He's committed to the game of women's soccer and developing it in this country, and he's committed to the belief and confidence he has in building a national caliber program here at Pitt. His plan for building and sustaining success works, and we are excited to support him in building that program here. So it is my privilege to introduce to you our new head women's soccer coach, Randy Waldrum.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, I certainly want to thank Heather for giving me this opportunity. I think it's a wonderful time for Pitt women's soccer, not only for me and my family, but I just think the change is needed. There's a history and a culture that we certainly need to change, and I'm excited about taking a leadership role and helping us get to the goals that we all have. I also just very quickly want to thank Chris Hoppy as well. I tell you, Heather mentioned her impressions of me when I came in, but I will share this with you. The search committee and the process of which was utilized in this whole hiring procedure was so professionally done, and I can tell you I've been in the college game a long time, and it's the best of professionalism of any university I've ever been at. So I really appreciated that. My phone has absolutely been blowing up from all the staff and all the family here at Pitt's, and it just tells me a lot about the kind of people that are here at this university, and I'm so excited about the opportunity to get in here and get to work. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of the Pitt family. I do think this game is relatively simple in some aspects, and sometimes us coaches seem to complicate things. But we're dealing with young student athletes, and we understand that the academic component comes first. We're going to be extremely concerned about what they're doing in the academic realm and what they're doing with their life to make sure that they're prepared to go on once their soccer careers are over and contribute to society. along the way, those competitive juices are with me still, and we want to win a few national championships here for Pitt. So I'm excited for the opportunity, and thank you so much for it. And I would say, hell to Pitt.
We'll go ahead and open it up to any questions.
Yeah, I guess, Randy, what about the Pitt job sort of intrigued you so much? I'm guessing, given your resume, you were someone with probably a good deal of options. What was it about here that ultimately led you to this decision?
I always felt that academically the university had in place what's needed to recruit top athletes. And so every time I've always considered a job, I've looked at the university and what it stands for first. And I've always felt like Pitt had that. I knew this program really well because of all my years at Notre Dame and when we competed against Pitt in the Big East. And I just always felt there were a few components missing, whether that was support from the administration, whether that was facilities, those things that 22 years of women's soccer history has had. The thing that excited me about it was, quite frankly, when I realized the commitment that the university made to men's soccer by hiring Jay. That showed me that there's a commitment here at this university to change things. And then when I got here and I met Heather and I listened to her vision for this university and I met all the new folks that she brought in, and seeing this athletic department just absolutely buzz. I mean, there's so much excitement around this university right now. I knew that the commitment level is now in place to take the program where it needs to go. And, with the new facility from a few years ago, it's a great venue to play in now. So those are the things that led me to believe that we can compete and win national championships here.
What do you think this program under your guidance can ideally become?
Well, I think the thing I shared with the search committee, I think coaches get judged a lot by, wins and losses and their successes early. And next year when we play, if we beat, North Carolina, is that going to be a successful season or not? And the one thing I talked to the players about, and I want to also thank Aideen for being here today as well. But one of the things I shared with the players is I want to build a program of excellence, and I think with that program, I don't want to be I don't want the program to be one of those that rides a roller coaster where you're good for a year or two, and then you have a few years you're down a little bit, and then you're good again. We've got to build this in a way that we're eager and competitive, and we want to do it as quick as we can. But we also want to be patient to make sure we're building it the right way so this program can sustain the excellence. So we're there year in and year out, much like we were able to do at Notre Dame and Baylor before I left Baylor. When I started that program, we were on that path as well. So that's really what I'm looking for. Do I want to win national championships along the way? Absolutely. But I want people in the women's game, when they look at the women's collegiate game, to years down the road look at Pitt and realize that they're one of the year in, year out perennial powers in women's soccer.
Randy, what's the importance of the local college team as far as youth development in the area? And what kind of effect have you seen in other places you've been on youth athletics based on the success that you've had?
Well, I think across the country it's huge, because right now the pro leagues it's not a big enough league to be that program where our youth players can really gravitate to and watch and emulate. So these universities that are in the local communities are extremely important to the growth of the game and the women's game. And I think here in Pittsburgh, I think it's really important that we get this program headed in the right direction, because there's a lot of talented players out of this area that are leaving this area to go to other places to play. And you can see that with players like Aideen that's coming right here from the city of Pittsburgh. We need to keep those players here and play here at this university. And I think for the young female players to have role models to look up to and to see the way to conduct themselves as they grow into their careers, that's what these players find themselves being, are role models for our young players. So we're still trying to grow the women's game. It's the men's game is still a little bit ahead in terms of growth, and collegiately we're still trying to grow the women's game. So I feel like that's part of our obligation as well, is to not only run a successful program and to win games and win championships here, but I think we also have an obligation to promote the women's game and be out in the community and doing all that we can for the growth of our youth players.
How surprised were you to get a text from Pat Narduzzi?
I mentioned in my tweet yesterday, it's the first time in 25 years I've ever had the head football coach pick up the phone and call me to welcome me, and not only call me, but say, here's my cell number, call me anytime you need it. I could tell you some stories of some of the other coaches along the way that I won't get into of how those things have happened over the years. So I love the fact that he did that, and it meant a lot to me. And not only from him, but we had most all the coaches reached out, and so many of the staff. It just was I was inundated with trying to respond to everybody.
Coach, talk a little bit about the recruiting aspect of it now, and really what do you do now, hitting the ground running? Obviously, you're in the ACC,
Right.
you know, the premier soccer conference in NCAA, both men's and women's.
Sure.
What's it going to take, really? What's the first steps to get things going?
Well, we've got to recruit ACC-type players. You know, I think there's a good base of players in this current team. And I think obviously we need to add to it, and we need to add to the talent level on our roster. So I think, you know, we'll have to find a couple ways to do that. You know, I think one of those is we'll hit the ground running and make the connections with, you know, all the club coaches again, and kind of share our vision with them. The good thing about it is I've got really good relationships across the country over all my years of coaching, and I've had so many of those club and high school coaches reach out already and say, you know what, we didn't think about Pitt before, but now with Jay being hired, you know, a couple of years ago, and you coming in now, we see the commitment level. So, you know, we've just got to start to get the word out, the message out, and get them to understand things are going to start to be different here at Pitt. I think, you know, the international market is a viable avenue as well, as we try to turn things as quick as we possibly can. So I think we don't leave any stone unturned, so to speak, to make sure we're pounding the pavement to get the right players in here. And, you know, the right players aren't just the top players too. It's getting the right kind of people in here that we want that's going to represent this university as well, and our program. So I'm confident that we're going to be able to get that done.
With being able to hire someone like Randy, Heather, how much more of a commitment now in your, I guess we're almost up to almost 9 months here of you being on the job, how much more of a commitment now is there as far as, you know, as a financial commitment or just general diligence is there now to, I guess, sort of the sports outside football and the men's basketball?
Yeah. It's a significant commitment. I would say that, you know, it all starts with the people. And we talked about that from the get-go is, you know, you win with people, and it starts with the mindset of comprehensive excellence. So we don't just want to be great in one sport or two sports. We've got 19 teams here. And when you talk about comprehensive excellence, every single person in our athletic department has an impact. Kelly, our strength coach, our athletic trainers, our academic people, our development team, everybody makes an impact on our women's soccer program or on our football program or on our baseball program. So no one can underperform, you know. And so I think the mindset and the culture of understanding that everybody matters, and if you're going to have comprehensive excellence up and down your 19 teams, then everybody that touches those teams has to raise their game. And so so this is a, you know, tremendous opportunity for us to you know, bring in a national caliber coach, and you go out and recruit the best, no matter whether it's the head coach or whether it's your head athletic trainer or your head academic advisor. You want the best people that you can have in your organization.
When you first approached Randy, what did you think your chances were going into it that, okay, this person could end up being our next coach?
I mean, we conducted a national search. You know, you scour the country, and I think it's one of the most rewarding things you get to do, and most exciting, because you look at every single program, you know, top head coaches, top assistant coaches, coaches who've coached and gone on to the national level or the professional level. And, you know, I didn't know what our chances were, but, you know, I certainly heard a lot of great things. And again, then you've got to get to know them and see whether it's really a fit and it makes sense and they really want to be here and are committed to building it here. And we found that in Randy.
Heather, a question about the atmosphere, you know, at Ambrose Urbanic Field. Towards the end of last season, the men's team, a couple of those games, you know, the crowds were starting to come in. It was pretty exciting. Is that kind of like the vision for both soccer programs, is to really pack the house and get the community to come out and support the teams?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'd say it's a vision for all of our teams. You know, we want to be a destination place for our coaches, for recruits, and for our community, a place to bring your families and your kids if you want to do something and engage with the premier university and see really high quality Division I athletics. This is a place you can see it. And I think the success of the men's program, it was indicative of the amount of support and the energy. And again, Coach Vidovich is very intentional about connecting with alumni and with former players and with our community. And so it started to happen when you have success. And I'm excited about those two programs certainly feeding off one another. Success is contagious. And so, you know, it's motivating as well. And so we all sort of, you know, saw what started to happen there. And yeah, that last game, I remember we were coming up from an event and I was like, where do I stand? I mean, you know, it was all the way around the field. And so I think it's a beautiful venue. You can see the city and it's a unique spot. And when the product and the quality of the coaching and the quality of the playing is really first class and extraordinary, then people want to come and see it. So I think it will grow.
Any other questions? Thank you all for
Coach,
coming.
I'm sorry, I had one more, Coach. Regarding your experiences now that you know, after you left Notre Dame, you went professional. You actually been on the international stage now a bit. Just talk about how you'll draw on those experiences now that you're back at the college ranks, and what was that like for you all, those experiences?
Well, all those experiences are part of what I call an educational process. You know, as coaches, if we're going to ask our players to get better and work hard to continue to improve, we have to do the same thing as coaches. And I thought going into the pro game certainly has made me a better coach because the game's at the next level up. And the time internationally with Trinidad and Tobago was a great experience as well. It was a different kind of experience. But the international game is played quite differently than the game domestically. So I think all of those kind of coupled together just really give me a lot of resources and experiences to fall back on, to look at this now, this opportunity at Pitt, and really take it even a little to another level to what I was doing at Notre Dame. And it just made me a better coach, you know, and I think that's what those experiences does, much like it does for those players that go off and do those things as well. So I could certainly tell you some good stories about my experiences at Trinidad and Tobago, and we'll do that one day, and I'll share you in. But that was an experience of a lifetime, getting to try to qualify for a World Cup and playing against the U.S. in Kansas City and trying to figure out how to stop that machine. Definitely was an experience of a lifetime, especially due to the lack of preparation we had. But I'll share those with you one day. But all of those experiences certainly, I feel, have made me a better coach, and now I'm really anxious to bring all of that back and bring it to these players at Pitt.
I see in October you had taken with us with the Nigerian national team. Are you still planning on doing that work with them?
No, you know, Nigeria, it's we never got to a point. They announced an appointment of me in October, but we never got to a point of negotiating. So I won't be doing that. This was my first choice, and that's why I was excited that this came along prior to me going over there and negotiating to do that. And so no, I'll be putting all my resources and energy into rebuilding this program.